Dave Q.
Hey, what's up?
Nice to meet you. We keep kind of
Baby, why are you gonna be so distant?
You don't call me no more? In college, you were playing like trumpet or something? Flute? Guitar?
I played bass. Well, no, I played trumpet as a kid.
Okay.
But I always played bass in weird space rock bands and indie bands in college and high school. But then I had a college radio show where I was playing Aphex Twin and Autechre and Warp Records type stuff, as well as jungle and hip hop. Once I moved to New York, I don't even know how it happened. I somehow discovered these weird records that were being made in London that were sort of branching out of the UK garage scene around 2000 and 2001. And I just started buying whatever I could get my hands on, mostly ordering online from Big Apple Records, which is a record shop in South London. And just for a period of 3 to 4 years, from 2001 until I started Dub War, I just was obsessed with this music. And it reached a point where I felt like it's just so good, and it's crazy that there's no one here playing it, no one here really presenting it, and people just didn't know about it in New York, so that was kind of the impetus for me to start the night.
Let's talk about Dub War and how that started. What year did it start?
Dub War started in June of 2005. The first couple were really small. It was in this place in Brooklyn in Bed-Stuy. It's not even around anymore, but it was just like a basement, 40 or 50 people. It just kind of grew from there. I mean, initially it was just me and Joe Nice playing, and Juke was emceeing. And Joe was really only the other dubstep DJ I knew in the States, so it made sense to ask him to come and play. Once we invited Code 9 to come at the end of 2005, and we moved it to Manhattan to a place called Brothko that's not around anymore. But that was when it really started to take off. Those first few gigs we did in Manhattan where we brought people from London, we brought Mala from DMZ, Loefah, Skream, that was where it really kind of cemented itself as representing this new sound that was coming from London.
I want to recall that amazing experience at Dub War when J-Roo the Damager showed up. Yeah, just tell us that story. It was incredible.
I often brought hip-hop in my bag, often to play towards the end of the night. I mean, you and I both grew up listening to a lot of hip-hop. 90s hip-hop was, for me, it was really an important part. And I always felt like with Dub War, I didn't want it just to be this night that kind of fetishizes music from the UK. Even though I was really excited by the music they were making, I always felt, well, we have to kind of always try when we can to bring a bit of a New York angle to the way we're presenting the music. Including hip-hop was always a part of that. This particular night, I just happened to have a whole bunch of Payday records in my bag, J-Roo records from the 90s, produced by Premier, which have the vocal on the A side and the instrumental on the B side. Next thing I know, I'm DJing and there's J-Roo right in front of the DJ booth, knocking on the booth, like, let me in. What? I didn't recognize him at first. Then once I realized it was J-Roo, let him in, he came in, he got on the mic, and miraculously, I had all of these J-Roo instrumentals in my bag.
You were still playing dubstep when he got on the mic, UK style dubstep, which is, the frequencies are different than New York's hip hop, say DJ Premier productions. There's a very different range of frequencies. And I noticed J-Roo was like, his voice, he was just kind of like getting in there, and he's like, no, this is not working out. Not feeling it. And then you dropped the Premiere, and he just flipped out. Like he just started going on for, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half or something. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting because it was still pushing the sound system, but in a totally different way.
I remember you making that comment actually that night, like how refreshing it was to hear Premiere on that sound system.
Yeah.
Because so much of the music that got played there was very cleanly produced in a great way. I mean, it sounded incredible on that sound system, but it was so refreshing to suddenly hear all this kind of crunchy sounding MPC kind of samples on that sound system. It was dirtier, and you're right, his voice, the way it kind of just sat right in the mix with those tracks on the system was incredible.
You had really varied sounds coming in to play a dub war, all kind of represented their own kind of unique style. So what the hell happened?
Part of why I liked that scene and that sound in the first place is because there were this fairly small number of producers initially making it, 10 to 12 people, but each one of them really had a distinct approach, a distinct sound. They were all sort of working in the same tempo, and it was all music that was meant to be played on a big sound system with a lot of bass. But from there, you just had a lot of different ideas all being mixed together at the same night. And so it was always important for me to kind of maintain a bit of that sensibility, even as it started to become bigger and become more a known thing, this genre dubstep. It was always important to me to kind of represent the breadth of what you could do in that tempo and have it be played on a big sound system in a dark room and still maintain that vibe of being surprised. You know, every time you came, I wanted people to have that sense of surprise. They really weren't sure what they were going to hear. That was just what made me like it in the beginning, and it's what kind of made me want to continue to represent it. Even as dubstep became a narrower and narrower thing, more clearly defined for people, I always felt like that was going to kind of be the death of it. As soon as it became this very specific formula. For me, it kind of was the death of it in a lot of ways. There's still a lot that I like that you would call dubstep, but once the mystery went out of it and it just became this thing sort of related to what Skrillex and other people do, and that's what everyone knows is dubstep, to me, a lot of the creativity of what made it exciting started to disappear at that point. Footwork has actually continued to excite me, not just what's from Chicago, but also the effect that sound has had on other people around the world. Being willing to deal with faster tempos than they had in a long time, and being willing to be less precise about mix downs, or bringing back a bit more of the rhythmic inventiveness that I think kind of got lost along the way of more and more people just kind of making fairly straight house rhythms. Suddenly it was this rhythm that just kind of broke everything apart. And that was really exciting, and I think it still is exciting seeing how people are taking that and doing their own interpretations of it. It also appealed to me as someone who came from jungle. It was fast, it was intense, it was crazy, you know, listening to jungle, especially early on when it was just a completely new way of sampling breakbeats, of making rhythms. And Footwork had that for me, that sense of rhythmic intensity and craziness that jungle had that I loved. The nights I enjoy the most are most often deep house nights in New York. Timmy Regisford was an important DJ for me back in the day. I used to love The Shelter. The Shelter kind of changed my life. The whole lineage of deep house DJs going back to the 90s, even before, I was too young, you know, to experience house in the 80s. The real deep house nights that have kind of been going on without changing that much really over the last 20, 30 years. Really value sound. They're using rotary mixers, they're using great equipment. They're not rushing things because they feel like every 2 minutes they have to make people jump up and down. It tends to be a slow build, just kind of maintaining a vibe, maintaining a sound. And the sort of maturity of the deep house scene in the way it approaches sound and the way they kind of present music to people is the thing that I like the most when it comes to going out in New York.
Show me your dirty face. Show me your dirty face. Show me your dirty face. Throw away that buzz one. When China says pull up, we don't argue.
As long as I feel like I have something to say that's not being covered and I feel like is important in what's happening in music in New York, but in the States in general, I want to have a voice in helping open people up to music that they don't know about and present it to them in a context, in an environment where they'll pay attention to it, but they might not normally. It's presenting sound that I feel strongly about, but also creating the social context for listening to it in a way that will make people pay attention, something they otherwise might not.
Dave Q, curator, apostle of bass, Thanks for coming through.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, man. He's Catholic, you know. I'm gonna say rabbi bass.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself, become a part of our community, and make music.